here. So La Ruche is the beehive in English. So first of all, I would like to thank all the teams of the forum for their selflessness and their helping me. And those are values that are very important in my company. So. The theme of my speech is the following: work will never be the same again. I'm sure I'm going to state the obvious. The world is changing, work is changing, and working conditions are changing. And I would like to have you discover a new way of working which could really change the way you work on a daily life. A few years ago, when you were making a speech, you always had to introduce yourself. So I'm going to give you a few background information. I used to work in Milan a few years ago. Everything was fine. We could make vacations with my children, and everything was fine. But I was at a time in my life when I was wondering what I wanted in life and where I was going to. And I'm sure that many times it happened to you as well. I'm sure it happened to you. And I thought, well, if the teenager I used to be were to meet the manager that I had become, then as a teenager, I would have been very disappointed to meet the person that I had become. So, the people we meet in the streets, or the people who come and see us, tell us that they are looking for more meaning. They want more meaningful life. And it's very intuitively, I've always thought that this was not the right explanation, because the work you do always has a meaning. So it's not really what you're missing. There's something else. But I'm sure you've been in a situation where you're waiting, you're looking for somebody to help, you're trying to find a helping hand, a helping look or hand, and nobody is helping. And you feel so uneasy. And I think this feeling that people have in their job is that they feel they're not in the right place. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And so I've decided to create this company. I've created this company which tried to have a positive outlook on life. So it was a small company when we started. It was a very small company, 4 or 5 friends with parent activities. There was Ashoka, Ladiv, to name but a few. It was really early days, and we decided to group and to meet in the same place. And we decided that we would develop that place, that working place, and we would open that working space to other people sharing the same value and the same outlook on life. So we discovered a place, 600 square meters in Paris. We created an association. So an association with no turnover, and at that time the yearly rent was 400,000 euros. So it's hard to find that money, but nonetheless, those 600 square meters, we were using up only 200 square meters. My 4 friends and I, and we decided to use the 400 square meters left and put them at the disposal of other companies. So we rent working space and we work a workplace. So we were customers of that working space, and together we define the rules that would prevail in that space. And so the values that we shared, or the principle that we had, we first of all wanted to state all the reasons why we no longer wanted to work in a traditional company. And one of the reasons we were together was the interest of meeting, pooling knowledge, pooling skills on a non-lucrative, on a non-profit basis. So this was really based on helping each other and on a non-profit a non-profit scheme. And so it became a resource center. And if we step back, it's definitely extremely interesting for new young companies hiring some working space in our company, because we can get help in counseling and mentoring. So we really help those companies feel less alone. And so this became one of the leading principles of our company. And so all companies entering our company, entering the beehive, we try to encourage them to use a part of a brain capacity which is not used, to help and reach out to others. And so we encourage them to take part to workshops in the evening where they share their skills and knowledge. I do not have slides with figures and statistics. I could tell you that we hosted more than 300 companies. I could tell you that some companies have become very big. I could give you the example of an entrepreneur who started at the Beehive and then went to the United States and is really going to change the life of deaf people with this innovative device. So it's really an atmosphere in which respect prevails, and the community really tries to get those values to be respected. So it is self-managed. There is nothing like there's no policeman. Everything is on the table. Everything is open. Everything is very transparent, and it's very interesting from that perspective as well. So 60 companies together in that working space. Here it's the kitchen. You know, the kitchen is really the meeting place in the workspace, like a coffee machine, if you will. It was the first co-working space that was opened in France. 8 years down the line, there are 120 such spaces available in Paris, and there are 400 in France. 1 or 2 working spaces are opened every day in France. So we were really at the forefront. We were pioneers in that respect, and really we were inspired to come together, and we were not aware that we were creating a new market by doing so. To conclude on the way we live at the Beehive, the co-workers or the people renting the working space are invited once a week to take part to workshops, and a couple of times a year companies are also having a dedicated workshop or tutorial where they give training on communication, on legal issues. We also have a law school sending students to give us training as well, and we also getting answers to our legal issues through that partnership as well. So basically, it's good that thanks to that partnership, we're able to have legal advice without paying for this, because this is one of those jobs that are very expensive. La Ruche in Paris was very fortunate 2 years ago to have a partnership with a very big company. One of the characteristics of the entrepreneurs, one characteristic that they have in common is that they have a high sense of social utility. And they are strongly committed to social good. And most of them have the ambition to spread on the entire territory. So at La Ruche, we were very aware from the start that we wanted to go to the province. So to leave Paris and the suburbs and really go in the provinces. I come myself from the province, and it is one of the wishes of people to be able to live closer to their roots, to closer to the place they were born to. And so Orange was opening call centers and branches in Northern Africa, and they decided and they wanted to invest in co-working spaces, and so they were interested in investing in our company. And thanks to Orange, we were able to open 2 new co-working spaces, one in Montreuil, one in Bordeaux, and one in a third city in France. And today, we're really developing in France. We have a number of discussions ongoing. We've elected people. We've also companies interested in being partners or launching their own co-working space. And so we're working on a business model. So very quickly, I'm just going to say more words. Edgar Morin said that in the history of humanity, there was a couple of times in very difficult situations when a couple of people find the right solution and could change the situation altogether with a groundbreaking idea. So it is true that at La Ruche we are true entrepreneurs. We are not hippies. We're not dreamers, or not only dreamers. And I would like to give you the example of Sébastien Christian. Is extremely knowledgeable in artificial intelligence, is a speech therapist, and he wants to improve the life of deaf people. And he wants to develop a device which would be like a Shazam of deaf people. So a Shazam which would warn deaf persons of any frightening noise. He's been looking around, he's been trying to find such an application, but such an application is not available. So we have hosted that person, because we are also an incubator through which we try to identify project bearers or people with a project. And Sébastien Christian has found the application is looking for, but unfortunately could not develop that in France, so he decided to go to the United States. Orange proposed to be a partner as well, and now NCNC has decided to integrate in all their mobile phones. I decided to integrate Sébastien Christian's application on all their mobile phones. So from time to time, you have such groundbreaking solutions which emerge, and we are very fortunate and very proud that this application was born in our co-working space. And so again, we're very proud of this. It's a real success story. So there are developments ongoing, and these developments make it possible to make profit and then re-inject that profit in his own company. So I deeply believe that solutions will not be on our side or on the company's side, but will be on the meeting of idealistic people and companies looking for solutions. So we are doing the research and development, if you will, and the companies are taking advantage of those solutions that we develop. So we're very proud to have been able to develop our model everywhere in France. Before thanking you, I'd like to say a couple more things. I didn't get the opportunity to explain how I quit my job in Milan, but things changed. And I think as consumers, as stakeholders, as salaried employees, we are the people with solutions. We are the one who can find solutions. I have helped in raising money in a number of companies. And there are a number of things which concern me, a number of things which annoys me. And and I tried to get companies to save money in in helping them. I used to work for a company in the telephone industry, and they used to receive a number of emails from angry customers, and thanks to what we did, they had more happier customers. So we're just trying to again help those companies and help people get more meaning to their job. Thank you.